like to call our meeting to order. It is 6 o'clock and declare that we do have a board quorum present. If you will please stand for our invocation, which will be led by Mr. Mikey Spears. And then our pledges of allegiance will be led by our Velasco Junior Leos, Mr. Angel Maravillas. There you go. Anthony Louisa, Marshawn Williams, Daniel Gonzalez, and Giovanni Rodriguez.
Please bow your heads with me. Father, we thank you for today, and we thank you for the opportunity to gather here to just do this full business. We ask for wisdom and discernment as we go through the agenda, Lord, and just guide your way. Just touch all these kids' lives, Lord, just help them to be powerful, contributing members of our society, Lord. We love you and thank you, and proudly sing to your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me for the text.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Good job.
Into our awards, achievements, and recognition time, and we will now turn the presentation over to Mrs. Carla Christmas.
Good evening, Superintendent Massey, Board President Howard, board members, staff, and guests. Tonight, we celebrate the students and staff in our awards, achievements, and recognition. We will begin our recognition this evening by celebrating BISD's many talented athletes. Our first presenter this evening will be Athletic Director, Mr. Alan Liddell.
Thank you, Carla. Mr. Massey and the members of the board, we are here tonight to honor our winter sports high school athletes and teams. We'll start with Brazos Wood, featuring our 2018-2019 powerlifting and basketball teams. Coach Danny Youngs, the face of Brazos Wood Athletics and our campus athletic coordinator, will present our Brazos Wood athletes.
Thank you for having us here this evening. You know, it's a great night when you get to recognize young men and women from our high school and all their great accomplishments. And you know, they put a lot of hours in, not just the coaches, but the kids as well. And you know, the one thing the kids always want to do is thank you, parents, you know, for everything you do, getting them to practice, getting them to, you know, their games, and picking them up on late nights when they get back from tournaments and meets. So, you know, if we would give the parents a little round of applause. Okay, first off tonight, we're going to start with the Brazos Wood High School girls powerlifting team. They are coached by Coach Randy Brooks. We're going to announce the state qualifiers. The first one being Haley Zuniga. Megan Smith. And Aaron Harris. Okay, also we're going to recognize the boys powerlifting team. They are also coached by Coach Brooks. State qualifier Mario Vega Jr. And head coach Randy Brooks.
Good job, neighbor. Thank you.
All right, I'll take a couple on three.
Okay, now we'd like to recognize the Brazoswood High School Buccaneer basketball team. The Buccaneers had 6 earning honors for their outstanding accomplishments on the court and as a team. First, we're going to start off with Tyler Andrews, 2nd team All-District, 1st team All-County. Javian Thomas, 2nd team All-District, Missouri County Defensive Player of the Year. Jake Simpson, 2nd team All-District, Missouri County Free Throw Percentage Champion. Michael Hoppett, 23 6A Honorable Mention, Missouri County Honorable Mention. Caleb Burrell, 23 6A Honorable Mention, Missouri County Honorable Mention. Young men are coached by Coach Trent Olivier.
This is where it's really tricky with all this height. All right. Now let's take Mr. Spear, if you'll come in the middle, Mr. Runhorn. Over that way a little bit. The other way, Mr. Runhorn. All right, I think that'll do it.
I don't want to be too, you're welcome to come after. 1, 2, 3, my second, 1, 2, 3. And yes, anyone else, please.
Okay, next up, we're going to recognize the Brazoswood High School girls basketball team. We had 2 Ladybugs coached by Doug Watson earning accolades for their on-the-court ability. The first one is Jasmine Robinson, 23 6A, 1st team All-District. 1st team is Southern Florida. Next is Caitlin Andel, 23 6A, 2nd team All-District. These young ladies were coached by Coach Doug Watson.
Here's the middle. Yeah, and just scoot the front, right, the honorees over just a little though. And then just make sure his Matthew's head's in between the 2 ladies, correct? 1, 2, 3, my second. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Great job.
Thank you, Coach. Next fall, I expect to be calling your name with your team up here. Now, Mr. Exporter himself, our head coach and campus athletic coordinator, Mark Knipes, will introduce our Brazosport Winter Sports superlatives.
How's everybody doing? Starting out with Brazosport girls powerlifting, coached by Scott Smith. We have a young lady, Latanya Thomas, who is 4th in state. Come on, good. Next up, we have the boys basketball. team all district, first team all county. 24 4A Code Newcomer of the Year, all county 6th Man of the Year, academic all state. Good athlete, he's a great student. Elliot Cundum, second team all district, academic all district, all county honorable mention. If you go to Columbia on Wednesday night, you'll also see him running track in the region in this area meet. Next up, Christian Guevara, second team all district, county newcomer of the year. Hayden McDaniel, all county second team. Sincere Mitchell, first team all district. And coached by the big guys, had to duck his head to get in the door. Travis Pitcher. Next up, we got the Bradford girls basketball squad. There's two young ladies who made it tonight. First up, Tiana Nichols, academic all district. And Navia Goins, 24 4A, also mentioned. Coached by Kayla Josie.
Our next two award-winning students will be our Executive Director of Secondary Academics, Mr. Brian Cole.
Good evening. Tonight I would like to recognize two of our high-performing students. The first student is Luke Whitehead, senior at Brazoswood High School, for being named a National Merit Scholar finalist by officials of the National Merit Scholarship Corporation. As a finalist, Luke ranks in the top 0.5% of students across the country. Luke entered the 2018 National Merit Scholarship Program along with about 1.5 million juniors in more than 22,000 high schools by taking the 2017 preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test, which served as an initial screen of program interest. The nationwide pool of semifinalists, representing less than 1% of U.S. high school seniors, includes the highest scoring entrants in each state. These academically talented high school seniors have an opportunity to continue in the competition for National Merit Scholarships worth more than $32 million that will be offered this spring. To be considered for a Merit Scholarship Award, semifinalists have to fulfill several requirements to advance to the finalist level of the competition. About half of the finalists, which include Luke, will win a National Merit Scholarship, earning the title Merit Scholar. Congratulations, Luke. We're proud of you. You represent the quality of education provided to all the ISD students.
out in a gray suit.
He takes on it right after his work. Just like his mom. He takes after his mom. Yes, it's just that right after his mom.
1, 2, 3. Second. 1, 2. Congratulations.
You heard it about 7 times. You have to come back anymore. He'll be back in the call.
Our next student is Brazoswood Jr. Diego Silva, who placed in the top 2.5% on the PSAT National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test among all Hispanic and Latino test takers in the region. As a result, Silva has been invited to participate in the College Board's National Hispanic Recognition Program. Every year, the Hispanic Recognition Program recognizes about 5,000 of the 250,000 Hispanic and Latino juniors who take the test. College Board's National Hispanic Recognition Program is an academic honor that colleges use to identify academically exceptional Hispanic and Latino students. Congratulations, Diego. We are proud of you.
I want to see that smile I saw in that picture. Yeah, you're fine. I can see it.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, hang on. Got a big one here now.
Good job, man.
Good job.
Now to present our top attendance awards for the third 9 weeks will be Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Jay Whitehead, with our student winners, and Ms. Christy Kirshner, our Chief of Human Resource Officer, with our staff winners.
The importance of students being at school each day is critical for students to benefit from teacher-led instruction. Tonight we recognize the campuses with the best student attendance for the third 9 weeks. Elementary campus under Principal Dr. Karen Mott, Madge Griffith Elementary with 96.32%. Middle Intermediate campus under Principal Chris Lofton, Clute Intermediate School with 94.7%. And high school under Principal Rita Pinavali, Brazoswood High School with 93.5%.
Ms. Christy Kirshner to present our next one.
Go to the next one.
While we wait, let's go ahead and move on. Oh, wait. Never mind.
My apologies. As we all know, the most impactful person in a child's education is his or her classroom teacher. With that being said, the importance of staff attendance is critical. BISD continues to emphasize, reward, and recognize staff attendance. Tonight we recognize the campuses with the best staff attendance for the third 9 weeks. For our elementary campus, under Julie Evans, Beth Brandon. Beth Brandon has a 99% staff attendance rate. For middle intermediate campus, under Principal Ian White, Freeport Intermediate School. Freeport Intermediate School has a 99.1% attendance rate.
You do have to be that one person.
And for high school, under Principal Brooke Merritt, Brazos Success Academy. And staying true to 99%, Brazos Success Academy also has 99% attendance.
And now our next presentation will be our BISD Child Nutrition Director, Rachel Arthur, to share a little bit about the Best of the Bunch Child Nutrition Department.
Each year, the Texas Department of Agriculture presents districts with the Local Products Challenge to serve locally grown items to students. Best of the Bunch award winners meet the highest standards of the Farm Fresh Challenge and have showcased extraordinary commitment to Texas agriculture. For the fourth year in a row, Child Nutrition Department has accepted the challenge and we've earned the distinction of Best of the Bunch. This is an esteemed level of achievement that less than 10% of districts in the state receive. BISD Child Nutrition will also be recognized in Austin at the Texas Department of Agriculture's Numbers and Nutrition Conference in June. Tonight, we'd not only like to recognize the department, but especially Lisa Beck, our Assistant Director and Dietitian, for her expertise and commitment to menuing local fresh products for our BISD students. We're very lucky to have you, and we would not have achieved this without you. Thank you.
Our last recognition this month will be presented by Mr. Brent Jenko, our Chief of Staff and Support Services.
Good evening. ConocoPhillips has teamed up with the Houston Astros to recognize Houston area math teachers who go above and beyond to help inspire students' excitement and interest in mathematics. There were over 700 applicants from the greater Houston area and only 6 teachers were selected. For the month of March, Lake Jackson Intermediate School math teacher Diane Herrera was named 2019 ConocoPhillips Math Teacher of the Month. The selection process was extensive. It included a committee made up of representatives from academia, government, and nonprofit sector evaluating critical criteria such as a demonstrated commitment to excellence in mathematics teaching, evidence of creativity and innovation in the classroom, effective use of traditional and non-traditional teaching tools, and a teacher that goes above and beyond to make a difference in students' lives. Earlier today, Ms. Herrera was recognized at LJI by ConocoPhillips and the Houston Astros. ConocoPhillips will be donating $1,000 to the school, and the Houston Astros will also recognize her at a Houston Astros game in June. Ms. Herrera is an exceptional teacher who is hitting a home run in the classroom.
You gotta come up
Come
here.
Well, I tried to take it to the bank, they wouldn't take it.
Well,
Well, it's not right to you.
Take a picture of it. Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm good. This concludes our awards and recognitions for this month, but already we have students and staff lining up for next month's recognition.
At this time, in accordance with BED local, the board will provide an audience to individuals who have signed up prior to the meeting to address the board. Mr. Atkins will serve as our timekeeper for those requesting to speak. Tonight we have Mr. Jim Martin, who's going to come and share with us. Comments are limited to a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker, with a maximum of 30 per group. Delegations of 5 or more shall appoint a representative to present their views to the board. The board will not entertain negative comments or individual personnel or students in public sessions. Patrons are encouraged to use appropriate campus and administration channels before bringing concerns to the board, and board members are not allowed to deliberate, discuss, or make decisions regarding any subject not included on the posted agenda. However, Martin?
Your speech is actually longer than mine's going to be. So I want to start off saying, you know, Luke must have a really, really intelligent mother and an athletic mother as well, because we know that his daddy didn't give all that to him.
I agree.
You agree? I'm here for All In for BISD. 18 days away from bond passage day. Next Monday starts early voting. And even though I know that BISD employees can't say how you want to vote, we are going to start a little Facebook picture campaign starting with early voting. So since you can't say yes, just snap a picture of yourself after you vote. And if it's a smile, we'll consider that a positive. And if it's a frown, we'll consider that a negative. And that'll be on a little exit poll, and we'll kind of keep track. But just hashtag it All In for BISD, and we'll run it on Facebook and make sure everybody goes and votes. But it's been a fast and furious couple of months. We probably have about 20 yard signs left that will still just leave us just enough to be able to put yard signs out at the voting places. It's been fantastic. I haven't had anybody get me on camera this month and say that I put that sign in their yard. It wasn't supposed to be there. Even better, nobody got Shelley. That was probably more important than not getting me. Raised twice as much money as we could possibly spend, which was phenomenal. It just seems extremely positive, but we're not going to slow down. In the next 18 days, you'll see a lot of letters to the editors. I'm working on editing my top 10 down to 750 words. I can do 2,000 words in 5 minutes talking, but it's kind of hard to get that 2,000 words in 750 words. So, but we'll do a guest editorial to the facts. Anybody that knows anybody that wants to write a letter in support of the bond to the facts, 250 words or less will get you in the paper. Vote yes works pretty good with your name and everything else too. So, but we appreciate everything BISD does for us. We serve with passion for y'all. The PAC has actually let a lot of Cubs do a lot of work this time around. At 62, the next bond, I might be a little bit too old to make all the presentations, but I won't run out of passion. I may just run out of youthfulness. But we had quite a few people cover for us for all of the presentations that Rebecca and Danny have been making, and I don't see an issue. We need 50% plus one, but the winner in me wants 75% plus. So if there's anything y'all think we need to be doing, let us know, and we'll be glad to do it. And again, it's been an honor to serve, and we can't wait to come back in May and listen to you canvass the votes and pass that $267 million bond. Thank you a lot.
Next item on our agenda is our workshop. I will turn it over to Ms. Claire Sal Davis.
Well, good evening, members of the board, our audience, and our principals out here. Tonight's presentation will focus on the results of the mock STAR and reflect the work of all of our schools in Bradford ISD. Each principal will share their perspectives and strategies for improving student achievement. You have in your hand the mock STAR data manual for spring 2019. Okay, everybody, it looks like this. And you can peruse this, and there's additional data that will be in addition to what's going to be on the slide. And because we have tons of acronyms in education, we provided a wonderful glossary in the back in case you need to refer to that. All right. So as you can see, and you can see it a lot better in your manual, there is lots of green to indicate that we are on the rise with student achievement. It looks promising, especially for the meets and masters categories, and we will continue to work hard before the May administration of STAR. So before we begin, I'd like to thank you, board members, for your unwavering commitment to our students and staff. And we're going to start with our littles at Freeport Elementary School with Principal Maria Espinosa. Now, after each presentation, you may ask the principal clarifying questions. So after each one, feel free to ask some clarifying questions. I want to start with Ms. Espinosa's data. It's going to look a little different because she doesn't reflect mock STAR, even though we think her kids are ready to take STAR, especially after taking that first place with our Name That Book on Saturday. So they're ready for STAR, but she has iStation data to report to you all this evening. So I'm going to turn the program over to Ms. Maria Espinosa. All right, everybody found her data? All right, we will begin. Okay, thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to thank you all for allowing me to speak about the great things that are happening at Freeport Elementary. As always, our focus is on building a strong foundation in reading. We've continued our best practices in balanced literacy, concentrating on guided reading, writing, and their leveled literacy interventions. Built-in interventions have continued, and we've increased autonomy for our staff in our PLC processes, which have increased our collective responsibility for student success. Recently, we reviewed our March iStation scores and discussed our current situation. As you can see, we've made great gains in our percentages of students that are in Tier 1 across both kindergarten and first grade compared to last year, with the biggest gains being in first grade bilingual. This was cause for great celebration, but we continue to push forward to our goal of 100% of students reading on grade level by the year 2020. Here are some action steps that we have taken this year. We've added vertically aligned Tier 2 interventions into our master schedule, and they are organized student by student, skill by skill. This is an additional 30 minutes to the interventions we've already had in place. We progress monitor Tier 3 students regularly and adjust instruction as needed. Some students get additional interventions with a retired BISD reading specialist. I asked the teachers to create action plans, and these plans were identifying our Tier 2 and Tier 3 students in iStation, and they listed specific strategies to meet the needs of those students that are struggling. These plans are monitored through walkthroughs, and the teacher will provide feedback. Despite many supports and coaching to one of my struggling teachers, instruction did not improve in the classroom. So although her students were not performing where we needed them to be, we banded together, and we continue to support those students as needed with my interventionists and other staff. And this teacher will not be returning next year. We focus on high-order thinking strategies we've discussed, and we integrated those strategies into our instruction, because we want to make sure that all of our students are challenged and are growing. So we're working very urgently to address our student needs, and I'm confident that my staff will rise to the challenge of producing readers that read on grade level and above. So Freeport Elementary will continue to swim to success and send our Dolphins ready readers to Velasco and beyond. Thank you for your time and your continued support. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Can you give us a little clarification on Tier 1, 2, and 3?
Yes, sir. So Tier 1 is what everyone gets in the classroom, our foundational instruction. Tier 2 is for those students that are just struggling just a little bit on certain skills. And Tier 3 are the urgent kids, the ones that need some intense intervention.
How many kids are tier 3? Is that?
We have about 5% right now, so we have very, very few, but we continue to focus on them.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
And now we'll have Board of Elementary, Laura Morris.
Good evening. Okay, overall, if you look at the scores, our third grade is showing growth in the approaches, meets, and masters areas of reading and math as compared to last year's third grade mock test. Even though our growth is minimal in approaches category, we are proud of the double-digit growth in the meets and masters areas for both reading and math. Overall, in fourth grade, they are showing growth in approaches, meets, and masters in the areas of reading, writing, and math from last year's mock scores as well. We are proud of our double-digit gains and are working to improve these scores for the STAR test. I attribute this growth in part to our focus on formative assessments during our team meetings and the restructuring we did at the beginning of the school year. Another positive is that our LEP and SPED students have shown growth on all tests in third and fourth grade as compared to last year's mock test, and some of them have shown improvement over last year's grade 3 STAR test. I attribute this to our co-teach models we're using with both programs. What are our challenges? We've had an increase in enrollment this school year as well as our mobility rate. I'm not sure the exact percentage of the mobility rate, but we've had more students enroll and withdraw this school year than in the past, which is something we were not accustomed to. Also, with the increase in enrollment, we're seeing a surge in the amount of students with special needs, as well as an escalation in special education referrals and students qualifying for those services. How are we dealing with these challenges? We are rearranging our priorities, our days, to do what is right for each child and continually focus on these students. It is time-consuming, but we will do whatever it takes to ensure that each and every child is successful. Do you have any questions?
Do you know if those kids are going to another BISD school or are they the mobility kids?
Most of them are going to other schools, but we've had several that have moved out of state. I think they were families that moved in for now, and now they're moving back out.
Laura, is the 610s that you have there as your student population, that is as of, you have 610 total students?
No, sir, we have 655 at the moment, I believe. It goes up and down, so.
Any other questions?
Have you seen any kids that are in the new boundary come in?
Slowly but surely, they are inquiring about it, and if we have room, we're allowing them to go ahead and start. We already have them starting to inquire about next year.
Thanks, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
And now Miss Julie Evans for Beth Brennan.
Good evening. Overall, we are very pleased with our mock scores. We're especially proud of the improvements in our fourth grade special education students. This is the third year that this group of students has been in a co-teaching setting. Their math scores moved from a 44.8% last year to a 66.6% this year. Reading has also improved from a 42% to a 55%. Third grade special education students are also showing improvement. On the October Professional Development Day, the staff received a training to better understand the scoring of the meets and the masters and the impact that these scores have on our overall performance ratings. I believe that this is one of the reasons why our meets and masters percentages have increased in all subject areas and in both grade levels. Several of these scores have doubled. After analyzing our data, we discovered many students were just one question away from passing, or one question away from meet, or one question away from even masters. So now we are targeting these groups of students to ensure they increase their percentage correct and reach their full potential. Our goal is to continually improve and to maintain all scores. Even though our approaches was down by 8% in writing this year, our meets and our mastery percentages were increased by 11% in each area. We will continue to focus and increase small group instruction for targeted areas. And for the next 4 weeks before the test, we need to keep our students motivated and confident in their ability to apply what they have learned. Questions?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Now, Mr. Sharon White from Griffith Elementary.
Good evening. We are also encouraged by our mock star results. We have seen some great things happening with all of our students across the board, but we're encouraged especially with the growth in our meets and masters area, our students who are doing an exceptional job with those tests. Some of the things that we are doing to, as we're in the last leg of the race, getting ready, our fourth graders participated in Camp Ride Along before the writing test this year. It was an exciting, fun environment for them to really focus in on some skills that they needed. Since spring break, we have had a third grade tutor and a fourth grade tutor, both retired Griffith teachers who have come in, and they are working with small groups of students throughout the school day. And they're very targeted tutorials, and we know exactly which skills students are struggling with most, and they are working on those specific skills. We know that improving those skills will help students not only on the test, but to be prepared for the next grade level. So we're excited about the work that is happening there. For the first time this year, we have a third tutor coming in who is working with our kindergarten first and second grade students. And we looked at the skills-based report cards and which skills had not been mastered at the end of the third 9 weeks. And she is also sitting down with small groups of students to help them make sure that they finish the school year with all the skills that they need to be successful next year. We are continuing with our All-Star Saturdays. We're averaging about 85 kids a week, which is about half of our third and fourth graders are coming out. They're getting 3 solid hours of tutorials, also very targeted. We get them there with pizza and prizes thanks to our PTO. And the students who attend all 6 weeks, so those 3 will do 3 after Easter, are in a drawing for a drone. So they're pretty excited about coming to school on Saturday morning, which we find impressive. And lastly, we did find as we looked at mock scores, we have some students who certainly are capable of more than what their test showed. And so they each have now an individual cheerleader on campus who is building a special relationship with them just to encourage and motivate them as we move through these last couple of weeks to get ready for the test. So we're excited about the things that are happening. Our staff is working very hard, our kids are working hard, and we're excited and ready for game day is what we call our test days. So any questions?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we have Ms. Vicki Farr for Ney Elementary.
Thank you and good evening. I appreciate this opportunity to share with you the progress that Elizabeth Ney has made in student performance based on this year's Mock Star scores. We are very encouraged to see the gains in our Mock Star performance, not only over last year, but also when we compare our scores against the actual STAR test of 2018. We scored very close to meeting or even exceeding last year's actual performance in approaches, meets, and masters. This left us with 6 additional weeks available for instruction, targeting specific TEKS and specific students for continued growth. We owe our progress to the efforts of a dedicated group of educators who took a critical look at our current practices, evaluated our effectiveness, and made some changes. We knew we needed to look at what we were doing at Tier 1 every day with every student. We needed to do what we said we would do instructionally with fidelity, and we did. We also utilized our 2 30-minute blocks of RTI to address the needs of all students by employing retired teachers to assist our teachers and paraprofessionals with both intervention and extension lessons in reading, writing, and math. During our scheduled RTI time, we were focused, targeted, with a clear goal of student growth. The work of our PLCs has also improved greatly. The training we received at the RTI conference was incredible. We were able to come back and revise some of our practices to better focus our conversations, our instructional planning, and our assessments on grade level essential outcomes. It is our continued challenge to refine our assessments, both formative and summative, to ensure our students are learning at high levels and that we are focused on the right work. I appreciate your time this evening and thank you so much for your continued support. And we as NAE Knights will continue to serve with dedication, passion, and a love for learning. I'll take any questions.
Yes, sir. General one, this may be more to clear up, but how close as far as number of questions and length of time is the actual March Star? Is it pretty close to similar?
Yeah, it is detailed. The mark is like a simulation, so we want it to be almost
But it's similar length and
But
number of questions and all
it's a
that.
release test, like.
I knew it was old test, but I didn't know if it was
From
a.
2017.
Yeah, but it's pretty close to length.
We hope.
Yeah.
It better.
Do you, and this may be a general question to multiple principals, but most of y'all have mentioned some type of tutoring, bringing on, if y'all have enough funds for that, is that good?
Yes, sir.
Everybody's got money for that?
Yes, that's great. Is there anything else you need? Teachers?
Time.
Time
Time is always a commodity that we could always use a little bit more of.
Like from us.
No, you've been extremely supportive. I can see that for the staff and me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Christy Traylor, EWR Elementary.
It's like we're going from a tall person to a short person, to a taller person to an even shorter person. All right, good evening. I'm Christy Traylor, principal at TWOG, and I stand here before you feeling encouraged by our mock star results and in awe of the amazing things that are happening on our campus. We ended last year on a little low, which forced us to move some people's cheese. This move took several of our teachers out of their comfort zones and provided them opportunities to learn and grow as educators. We moved first and second grade teachers to third or fourth grade. We created teams in third and fourth grade, as well as developed a model classroom in fourth grade that includes our bilingual and non-bilingual students. I'm happy to report that this restructuring has paid off and we are rocking it. We've got the right people in the right seats on the bus, and TWOG is headed in the right direction, forward and up. Our mock star results have improved greatly with double-digit gains in almost all areas. On top of that, I'm really excited about this. Our fourth graders haven't lost any ground from the previous year in math or reading, which is the first time I can say that in the past 4 years, since the past 4 years I've been there. In addition to the restructuring of staff, we have really placed a laser-like focus on identifying and addressing the individual needs of each student and providing them with the tools and the strategies for their toolkits that will ensure their success. Students are being held accountable for their learning, and they are proud of their accomplishments. Moreover, there is a sense of urgency and a collaborative spirit amongst the teachers that I haven't felt in a long time. It is an exciting time to be in Augie. With all of that said, I leave you with this. All progress takes place outside of the comfort zone, and we are seeing that progress within our teachers and our students. More importantly, in order to succeed, we must first believe that we can, and at all, we believe. Thank you. Questions?
Has construction been disrupted?
No. If anything, we're all wanting to go over there.
Speed that dog, don't forget that.
We want to go in the building.
Your current school is so nice.
It's gorgeous.
Good.
If you've driven by, you know it's gorgeous. But anyway,
Any other questions?
we're good?
Thank you, Ms.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And now Tara Folk, that is Polk Elementary. Tara Folk. Ms. Sandy.
All right, I'm here to talk about the pandas. So we continue to operate as a strong professional learning community. My third and fourth grade teams are solid, and as you can see on our data, our meets and masters have gone up in all subject areas, and that was our focus for the year, and so our efforts are paying off.
And even with the increase in enrollment and with adding a fourth grade bilingual this year, we are showing growth in most areas, and we're very proud of that. Our achievement gaps are minimal, and if you look at our achievement with our economically disadvantaged versus all students, there's minimal gaps, and that's something that we're always striving for, because we know that we need to reach all students. All means all, and that's our motto. And so our challenges this year, we, along with, like what Laura was saying, we've increased almost 100 kids this year at Polk. And with that comes new challenges, new students. So we've had to adjust some of our instruction and adjust some of the ways that we're responding, but we still respond as a team and collaboratively, just like we always do. Our mobility also has increased quite a bit. We're enrolling kids every week, withdrawing kids every week. And so that's something that we address through our RTI. You know, we just slide them right in there and get them what they need. And so I do have 2 new teachers in 4th grade, but my team is taking care of them, and we haven't seen any issues with that because the team works together as one. They take each other's kids, they go in and co-teach and model for each other. So our plan is we're just tutoring, all hands on deck. We've got pre-K, kindergarten, paraprofessionals, support staff, everyone is tutoring. And we're doing boot camp every Wednesday. We've been doing that since January, and that's just targeted intervention in math and reading and in writing. Also, we're doing Saturday school, and we've had a lot of kids turn out for that, and we do feed them pizza, and it works. And most importantly, we're continuing our frequent, common, formative assessments, looking at the data, looking to see where are the kids' strengths, where are their weaknesses, and addressing it as we go. And so, we just continue to operate as a model professional learning community. That's the way we're going to address our needs, and we're expecting great results. Thank you. Any questions?
Do we send data, all this data that we have on MockStar, all these kids that are transferring in and out, do we send kids that are leaving us, do we send that information to their new school, or do we get information from other schools when they transfer in? Do we get anything like that?
Through Eduphoria, when they request records, some of that can transfer, and also if they go from a BISD school to another one, they can look it up in Eduphoria.
So what is the enrollment?
My enrollment is 530 as of last Friday, and I enrolled 531 today. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and now Jennifer Neighbors, O.M. Robbins Elementary.
Good evening. We've had a pretty good year so far at Roberts, and know our mock scores are reflective of growth and approaches meets and masters. We've been especially seeing growth in our students in math and are striving for more growth in reading. Our areas where we dropped in STAR last year, which were 3rd math, 4th grade writing and reading, we're surpassing those scores on mock and hope to continue that trend. This year, while continuing our intervention program, we've been intentional about providing enrichment. We've been able to increase the amount of tutoring and enrichment opportunities we offer, which are before, during, and after school, and we've incorporated some weekend camps to focus on areas we know we are in need, which was writing and reading. We've also shifted our focus this year to make sure we're using formative assessment instead of burning our students out with summative assessment. And we're continuing to make sure our instruction is focused and aligned through the PLC process. Our new librarian and digital coach has been a great addition as she supports reading concepts and high areas of need through her library program as well. We've recognized areas where we are having challenges, which include our SPED and LEP special populations in 3rd and 4th grade. We've definitely seen an increase in our SPED referrals and qualifications this year, coupled with some of those same students or LEP students. We've made sure services are provided in and out of the classroom, accommodations are in place, and we have added some in-class support for our LEP students. If we look at patterns from mock STAR over the past few years, we should see some significant growth on our STAR tests in all areas. Any questions?
You know, I'm just gonna make this comment. I look up, you know, number one, the improvement in all the areas is outstanding. The fact that you folks have worked, and we're just not even halfway through what we're doing, and there's so much double-digit improvement. You guys are rocking. You just got to keep going because there's schools good grades, good scores, bring new people. We're gonna rock and roll. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Are these mocks, to make clear, this is part of you, are these mocks to what we should have approached on the teams to this point, or is it full scope?
It's full. So there are some things that have not exactly been taught yet. Yes. So, especially in math.
So we have some more objectives that we still need to teach. So we're gonna do even better with the non-reflect.
And I know we like upended our writing stuff. Was it this year or last year? We like flipped it, and then we were teaching wasn't lining up with what we were teaching. So look backwards, is that where some of these gains are coming from on the writing?
Yes. And also, we've been very intentional about having a common writing BISD program in lieu of random variation of everybody doing their own thing. So we have some common best practices that we all share. We're ready for Ms. Margaret Meadows, Velasco Elementary.
Okay, at Velasco, we're proud that we've made double-digit gains, everyone's saying it, in most areas compared to last year's mock scores, especially in the Meets and Masters category. So that's a big deal for us. We will continue to maintain our focus and constantly refine instead of reinventing. Our constant collaboration has made a major difference in how we individualize the needs of students, and we recognize that reading and writing, if you're on the fourth grade screen, don't look at the writing part, continue to be a struggle for us. But with collaboration and intense focus, we've identified academic vocabulary as the roadblock for many of our students. It's not that they can't read, it's just that they don't necessarily understand what they're reading due to a lack of intense, rich vocabulary. So we're determined to provide language-rich experiences in order to increase our students' understanding of words and their meanings, and this intentional focus is already providing growth. Our model classroom works. Not only are these two teachers master teachers in the classroom, they model best practices to Velasco staff and colleagues across the district. They also work with students, they coach teachers, and they're building capacity at Velasco for sustained growth, and that's what our goal is.
Any questions? Do you have a mobility problem?
But we always have had. It's not a new thing for Velasco, and yes, we have a really big mobility issue, but that's kind of common in a school that's with such high low income. Not new.
The higher the economically disadvantaged, the higher the
They
mobility.
move in and out. We are enrolling students with third and fourth grader tomorrow, and they'll have to take STAR tests in 15 days.
What's the cutoff date of them coming to the school to count?
The last day of school.
There's a day in there.
October start shot.
Well, there's snapshot day. We count for the STAR test test, I'm sorry. That's the last Friday in October. So the kids, if they're here on the last Friday in October and here on STAR test day, they count. If they miss either one of those days, they don't count for our school.
But they'll count for the district.
They count for the
If
district.
they stay in.
That's just their special cost.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and now we have Mr. Brian Brooks as the STEM Academy, and Mr. Brooks is going to have more than one slide.
Howdy, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to come up. I'm really excited about what's going on. Got my student on. Really excited about what's going on at Stephen F. Austin. We've had some remarkable changes again with the double digits changes. We focused on our tutoring a lot earlier this year. And as I look at the scores, I not only look at the scores from third graders to third graders last year. When I move up to the fourth grade, I look at fourth grade scores. And I want y'all to do this too. If you look at the fourth grade scores on 2019 and then go look at the 2018 third grade scores, those are students to students. And you see that growth. That's one of the growths I like to look at. And again, we've got double-digit growths there. And so we've got a lot of changes going on. I had some things happen at the beginning of the year when I went into the fifth grade class. We had an issue there. I wasn't really happy with what was going on in the math, and I made a teacher change with the help of Ms. Kirshner and Ms. Sel Davis. We made some teacher swaps in the fifth grade, which I think was very beneficial. My fourth grade scores are remarkable. I'm really pleased with those. If you'll look at those, we had a writing coach come in this year for tutorials, so our writing scores went up pretty good on that. We also had a teacher leave. My math teacher left in the fourth grade. She left after the first semester. She went to UTMB in nursing degree, but I was lucky enough to find a teacher that was retired to come in, and she's spending the rest of the year with us. And the math scores, if you'll notice the math scores, they jumped up real well also on that. So we're really pleased with what we're doing so far. The one, oh no, is the 6th grade. Don't look at the 6th grade. You know, the oh no is the 6th grade. The math in the 6th grade, I'm not at all happy with that score. I talked to the teacher. She seemed to think the kids know it. I called every student in that did not approach that test, did not meet approach on the mock. I called every stinking one of them in individually and talked to them and said, "What's the problem?" 95% of them said, "Mr. Brooks, it's just a mock test and we didn't care. We just rushed through it." And I'm hoping that's true. But we did take away the recess, so they're not happy with me right now. So they're going to and we're going to look at probably a blitz these last 4 weeks. We're going to continue some after school tutoring and hopefully reach those 5 distinctions that's been our goal. And I'm open for any questions.
So your 6th grade cohort basically stayed even, right? They're 58 and 18, and they're 58 and 19, so they really didn't grow.
Correct.
Right? But essentially you got a year's worth of growth because you're on a 6th grade test.
Yes, sir.
Versus 5th grade test.
Yes, sir.
But your reading on that one did go down from 42 to, or went up, sorry, excuse me, 42 to 69. You did have growth from that one.
Yes.
But from year to year, it didn't.
On the students, if you compare students to students, I had anywhere from 2% growth to 20-something% growth, if you look at students to students.
What's your total enrollment?
Right now, we're at 308. We've been up as high as 320-something, 325, 328. But now we're around 308, I think.
Experiencing the mobility out there as well?
Yes.
When it's not the flu?
Flu set us back. Yeah, we had, 180-something kids absent one day with the flu, so that kind of hurt us.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll now have Bridget Prickle for Lanier Middle School.
Good evening. When asked to share the state of the campus, the first thing that comes to my mind is I should probably tell you how we've heightened our instructional practices by student, by standard, how we track our data and our data analysis, the time we spend in targeted tutorials and Saturday school. But what I really want to tell you about is how special it is to be a part of a campus of evolution, of campus culture and academic improvement. Lanier teachers, interventionists, and administrators have all increased our aptitude and exponentially grown in our ability to analyze common assessment data and to target our instruction to match student learning deficiencies, while integrating and capturing kids' hearts at a national showcase level. This concerted effort has also contributed to marked gains in all areas. I'd like to speak to you a little bit of the chronology of our STAR scores from 2016 to 2018. Our math Met Standard STAR scores have increased 18.5%. Linear Science STAR scores have increased 11%. And our Reading STAR scores went up 9%. Our mock STAR scores also evidence continuous gains in every reporting category. 5th grade math mock stars were actually the highest in the district this year, and we're proud to say that because it's been a long time since we've been able to say that. Our special education and LEP student scores are increasing. Our focus on meets and masters scores have also been evident with the marked increases. To borrow language from Speaker Bonin, it's not perfect, but it is progress. Reading continues to be an area of focus for us. Our campus has increased our literature-rich atmosphere and resources. Every content area has a literacy-focused component that allows for additional opportunities to improve comprehension skills. Additionally, we have built strategic interventions around enrichment to enhance our instruction at the meets and masters level for reading. In light of this progress, we do maintain our focus on results in our efforts to meet or exceed the district outcome goal 2. I can proudly declare on the behalf of the exceptional Lanier teachers that after decades of dysfunction and in the coordinated efforts of the last 4 years, Lanier is no longer running from our reputation, but running toward our success. Any questions?
I wanted to share just what was going well at Rasco Middle School this spring. Before I go into mock information, through academically focused student conferences and data tracking between students, working with teachers, counselors, and administrators, we have witnessed our students growing each 9 weeks, as is evident by fewer students failing multiple subjects and a less than 6% failing rate between both grade levels. We've also witnessed through this student ownership develop in our students in regards to their academic progress. In turn, we have seen this impact our mock scores as well. In reviewing our data, we have seen a steady increase in our mock scores from last year to this year in our 5th grade math, science, and reading, and our 6th grade reading scores. Through all of our team teachers reviewing data, we have also seen a steady increase in our 6th grade LEP and special education scores, with a continued emphasis on intervention, Tier 1 instruction, and even working with our Meet the Masters groups through after-school tutorials and during rocket hour. Our 6th grade math and reading teams continue to push our students out of their comfort zones, incorporating interactive activities and ensuring that interventions are taking place. While we have a great many things going on, this does not come without its challenges. In both grade levels as teams, we have made several adjustments to student schedules and changing teams to best support student academic needs and ensure that we're addressing behaviors. We continue to provide instructional support, coaching, and feedback to teachers who continue to struggle with incorporating Tier 2 activities and lessons into their classroom. And while it's a challenge, and you can see through our mock with our 6th grade math, I want to give a shout out to my 6th grade math teachers who have banded together and gone above and beyond to support not only their students, but all 6th grade students, as one of our teachers is currently on maternity leave. Our teachers have worked to team teach classes along with our certified subs during the school day, as well as hold tutorials during rocket hour and after-school tutorial groups to help all students reach their goals. Overall, we are confident that we will overcome this challenge and rise to the occasion by ensuring all students find success. Thank you for allowing me time to share with you about what's going on at Rasco, and I appreciate your support.
Questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, and now Mr. Fred Lofton for Clues Intermediate, and he'll have several slides, 5 through 8.
Good evening, I'm Chris Lofton, the principal of Clues Intermediate. CIS has been on the academic move upwards for the past 3 years, and we are celebrating each victory. Our math department has improved scores at every grade level for the past 3 years. Our history and ELA departments experienced large gains this spring. We are also very proud to have reduced our discipline referrals by as much as 50% over the last 3 years. Capturing Kids Heart program has made a huge impact on the way our teachers work with our students and the overall campus culture. I'm very proud to say that we are a National Showcase School for the 2nd year in a row. Our ELA department accepted the challenge of improving CIS writing scores for the 2018-19 school year. Professional development, Air Corp writing workshop with FIS, and writing across the curriculum are some of the school initiatives that will help meet those challenges. In our PLC workshop, we previewed, reviewed, and all major assessments, strategically identified student groupings, and designed effective lessoning that will differentiate instruction to ensure curriculum is being mastered. The CIS faculty and I take great pride in all the large gains this year in the following areas. In our 5th grade, all 3 tested areas of the mock STAR, we grew an average of 8.3%. In our 6th grade reading, we grew over 6%. In math, we experienced 8% growth in our meets category. In 7th grade, we grew in all 9 categories tested. We all experienced large gains in reading, over 10% growth in each category, and in writing, 7% growth in each category. In our 8th grade, we experienced large gains in math, algebra, and history. In math, we experienced a growth of over 21% in each tested area. In algebra, almost 27% in the meets and masters category. In history, we experienced a 23% increase in the approaches group. We are excited about this success and all the new initiatives we have installed this past year at CIS, and as a staff, we feel that the students are going to continue to show great gains. Thank you, and do you have any questions?
Now, Ian White for Freeport Intermediate.
Good evening.
When we started the 18-19 journey, we knew that at FIS we already had a lot of effective systems and procedures already in place. It was a matter of making some small adjustments, narrowing our focus, and becoming real good at what we do. To start the year, we focused in on our strengths and challenges that we knew we wanted to address for the 18-19 year to take our campus to the next level. To begin, we had two substantial challenges we were addressing. Number one, our 7th grade writing performance. We talked about that in the fall. This spring, we transitioned into more targeted interventions for our underperforming students. And then just recently, we teamed up with Clute Intermediate to do an Eric Cork Writing International camp that worked with our entire 7th grade class and then provided professional development for our staff for the entire day. The next biggest challenge at FIS that we face is our student attendance. As we know that at FIS, if we can get them in the door, we can get success. We continue our numerous interventions and outreach efforts, but our student attendance continues to be an area of our concern and focus at FIS. On a more positive note, as we continue from our as you can see from our preseason testing, it's a great time to be a Redskin. As a campus, we're able to show growth in all areas, subjects, sub-pops, testing categories to this point in the year. Our continuous improvement cycle has allowed us to develop several strengths on campus that have proven very successful. A few key strengths I'd like to highlight. Number one, our strong RTI plan and system that provides the additional 210 minutes a week during the school day for all students for our enrichment and intervention. Next, our campus culture that continues to build powerful relationships and continuous connections with our students and staff, which is evident by our newest honor of FIS being named National Showcase Campus for Capturing Kids' Hearts. Another strong hallmark at FIS is our attention to best instructional practice. This year, FIS has grown to be a sustaining PLC model and received the designation as a National Model PLC Campus, which solidifies the belief that our staff is doing the right work for the right things for all students. But the bottom line, the greatest strength at FIS continues to be the phenomenal faculty and staff. And without them, the growth of our students and campus would not be possible. As we bring this year to a close, we're confident that we will continue to show significant growth and evidence of a quality educational experience at Freeport Intermediate and BISD. Thank you very much, and if you have any questions.
Any questions?
You don't sequester your faculty from September to May, do you? Does that go home?
Nope, they get to go home.
Okay.
They can bring their family to school. Just don't miss a day.
I was just checking.
I'm going to draw a line just between 2 points, but it seems as Lanier's improving, you're improving.
That's great to see.
Instead of coming in and struggling, they're coming in prepared.
We're not having to move as far.
Success breeds success.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And now we have Ms. Susan Wood for Lake Jackson Intermediate.
Great schools are not defined by the mission statement on the wall, but the adults that are on the mission. Good afternoon and welcome. I'm pleased to speak about Lake Jackson Intermediate School tonight. This past year we were rated through TEA as an A campus with a TEA distinction in student progress and adding value to all students, and we want to continue that progress and add value even more so. This semester, we will continue to ensure that our students have exposure to some of the strongest TEKs that they struggle with, and also to very important skill sets that they need to be successful with the test, with problem solving and critical thinking skills. We're continuing to work with them on that. We believe also that Tier 1 instruction is one of the most important things we can have set in place with great teachers, kids being at school, and great lessons and instructions and assessments. So we'll continue to monitor our classes with walkthroughs, observations, assessments, and competencies. In addition to STAR, JAM, Blitz, and after-school tutorials, Summer School Now has continued into the spring semester for those students that continue to need that added support. We restructured our prime time this year by changing, this semester by changing some teachers' assignments and student schedules to adjust the levels of growth and learning, hence prime time reboot. Fridays also became a priority day for Algebra 1 and for writing. All core teachers were trained through Lead Forward's 10-day rocking review, knowing that there is no new in review and the kids can't learn from a stack of standalone papers and worksheets. We have planned a 10-day out of STAR review to focus on those TEKs that those kids struggle with most. Those TEK clusters, those skill strategies that they need. Also to improve the students' own ability to analyze, think critically, and problem solve to identify common errors and distractions that come up that try to trip them up. We will continue to stay strong and believe that all students will learn at high levels in a culture of collaboration with a focus on student results. And we win in the second half. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions?
All right, thank you, Ms. Wood.
Now let's hear from our high school, starting with Mr. Yost for Brazos High School.
All right, good evening, everybody. Glad to be here tonight to talk to you about the good things happening at Brazosport High School. As you look at your data, you'll see there's a lot of reasons for us to celebrate. Our mock star scores show growth across the board in all areas except for English, which we'll talk about in just a second. So at the risk of oversimplifying the state accountability system at the high school level, I'd like to just say that when we look at it, we think of the approaches, grade level performance on end of course exams as counting for the kids towards their graduation requirement, but not really counting for the campus for accountability purposes. So we really hone in on the meets and masters area. As you'll see as you look at our data, we improved in meets and masters in all areas except for English 1. So in actuality, this performance for us is a continuation of multiple years of growth in U.S. history, biology, and algebra. And we believe that these student improvements are attributable to our campus focus on the student use of academic language, teachers' belief in their collective efficacy fostered through their PLCs, and continued student growth throughout our feeder pattern. I'd also like to point out that although it's not available in the data provided to you tonight, we administered mock AP exams last week and are ecstatic with the performance in multiple areas, from chemistry all the way through to English. So despite these celebrations and growth over multiple years, our English mock scores continue following their downward trend. There's many contributing factors to this, but we believe teacher quality is the most important. So we have proactively approached staffing this year, and with the strong support of central administration, have been able to replace 30% of our English instructors. We're firm in our belief that the majority of freshmen and sophomores are now in classrooms with quality English 1 and English 2 teachers. These changes should result in us outperforming current projections for English EOC scores and set us up for future success as well. So, for accountability purposes, we're projecting that any lackluster results in English are going to be offset by improved performance in the other areas and our gains in college, career, and military readiness that are already on record with last year's graduating class. I look forward to visiting with you all a few months from now to celebrate the success of our exporters on their actual EOC. Anchor down. Any questions? All right.
Okay, Ms. Rita Pizzavali from Brazosport High School.
Good evening. I would like to highlight the items that are going well at Brazosport. We are currently utilizing multiple levels of algebra to meet the specific needs of our students. We have standard classes, ALEX, Agile Mind Double Block, intervention pullouts, and co-teach models. We also, as a functioning PLC, we have allocated dedicated time in the day for our EOC teachers so they can plan together and focus on data, strengths, weaknesses, and also create common formative assessment. We have increased our implementation of classroom rotation stations with intentional strategies that break up lessons and create a higher student engagement and collaboration. We have amazing reading interventionists who are highly trained in strategies to work with our students that are coming into us reading below the 8th grade level. Also, our ELA teachers are utilizing continuous improvement through assistance from the C&I department, attending writing workshops, using a program called No Red Ink, and focusing on enhanced writing activities. Our biggest challenge was finding time in the day to provide adequate response to intervention for students with the appropriate teachers on staff. We implemented an alternate bell schedule 2 times per week to provide a block of time for intensive remediation in our RTI model, as well as allowing students to get assistance and enhancement in any subject during the school day. This allows all of our staff to be present and all of our students to be present to work together. We are utilizing mock and CBA data to spiral instruction within the class period and construct specific tutorials and blitzes. We provided one-on-one conferences with our 9th grade students who were failing 3 or more subjects at the semester and created a plan for each student to regain those credits using NTC and summer schools. We also conduct one-on-one conferences with all of our seniors who are in danger of not graduating to create individual plans in EOC assistance, credit recovery, and IGC projects within their daily schedules. And finally, we implemented Read 180 and Core Plus More curriculum for our ELLs and our special education students to enhance intervention during the school day with focused instruction that is individualized for their needs. Thank you. Any questions?
A lot of information.
I was talking really fast, so I can get it all.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, and now Ms. Brooke Merritt from Brazos Success Academy.
Good evening. I'm the proud principal of Brazosport, or Brazos Success Academy, and I'm very happy to be serving in that role. This year has been full of excitement and progress. I'm proud of many accomplishments that my campus has achieved thus far, because strengthening campus systems and improving learning outcomes for all has been at the heart of what we do. We established ESD goals at the beginning of the school year to raise student performance to 40% approaches grade level, 20% meets grade level, or 60% student growth, and 35% of students on target to graduate with their cohort. Based on our improvements on summer EOC, fall EOC, and spring mock EOC results thus far, I'm confident that we will meet and or exceed our campus academic goals. We restructured our Edgenuity labs to facilitate content-specific labs based on the teacher, and implemented an ICU lab to target students whose pacing is tied to our 4-year graduation rate. We facilitate night school 4 evenings a week, but we assign our students mandatory night school when their credit progress is inadequate. We intentionally track our 4-year graduates with a goal to raise the percentage of on-time graduates above 67%. I'm happy to report that we are at 68% and well on our way to achieving 75%. We've increased our number of graduates from 53 to 101 students compared to the same time last year. We are on track to exceed last year's total of 110 graduates. We take great pride in providing a learning environment where our students feel comfortable and safe. We have incorporated Capturing Kids' Heart strategies, hosted training camps every 3 weeks to build real-world skills, and have launched a student-led PBIS token economy, rewarding our students for positive behaviors and attendance. Through PBIS, we've established an excellent campus culture, and our students take pride in being a school family. Our improved culture has directly contributed to our reduction in discipline referrals by 67% and a total incident reduction from 183 to 60. Implementation of a systematic approach to student attendance has attributed to improved average daily attendance increasing from 68% to 76%, and the number of dropouts being reduced by 54%, reducing the number of students lost from 37 to 17. My team continues to work diligently towards improving our students' instructional performance, and this summer, BSA will be fortunate enough to have our entire ESC staff attend the PLC Institute. This will further our implementation of the PLC process and strengthen our use of common formative assessment and data disaggregation to enhance targeted instruction in ESD courses. We continue to refine our practices by building up behavioral and academic tools of our students that they need to master the world of online learning, improve the success rates on ESCs, and move beyond accomplishing our campus goals to helping them ignite the fire within our students to turn their dreams of graduation into reality. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to make one statement. This is to the principals, and I'd like to take it back to your faculty. Haven't been in the classroom for several years. Always got the thought that you need to teach the people that are in your classroom, not the ones you want to be in your classroom. It's quite obvious that through the parameters that you've been given, that your faculties are doing that, and you as their academic leaders are doing a great job there. But that's the most important thing, is for us to teach who's in the classroom, not who we want to be in the classroom. Continue the good work.
And this concludes tonight's workshop, and I just want to say we are so blessed to have the kind of leaders that we have to lead our troops to ensure that we have student success. So, as one proud Chief Academic Officer, thank you for what you do. And thank you for
Y'all gonna rest. Do like.
I gotta go. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, the next item we have on our agenda is the consent agenda. We got some more meetings.
No, I didn't know we had no through.
We're not done yet. Are there any items to be requested to be pulled from the consent agenda?
Move for approval.
Hearing none, Scott has moved for approval. Do I have a second? Second by Joe. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed by nay. Carries. Next item is action item A, additional personnel funding request. Ms. Christie Hersher.
No money.
More money, yes. Good evening, Superintendent Massey, Board President Howard, and board members. It is my pleasure to be here this evening alongside my cabinet members, fellow cabinet members, to present to you the administration's request for additional personnel for the upcoming 2019-2020 school year. Board members, I want to point out that you do have a summary sheet, a one-page summary sheet printed out for you to follow along with our presentation for the position. With that, I would like to invite Mr. G.A. White.
Thank you. School safety is an identified BISD legislative priority. Brazosport ISD advocates for increasing counseling services and campus-based mental and behavioral health services for students. Also, BISD advocates for additional and ongoing school safety initiatives. With that being said, we have to ask ourselves, how can we provide a better counselor structure to ensure that our students are receiving mental health supports and academic guidance at a level that will provide for the increased demands of both of these areas? First, academic demands that are required of the counselors continue to increase. Counselors at the high school level spend a great deal of time monitoring credit requirements with the foundation graduation plan. This includes tracking endorsements, performance acknowledgments, and college, career, and military readiness indicators. Each year that a student is in high school, the counselors work with the students to develop schedules to meet the future plans of the individual student. In addition to planning and tracking high school requirements, the counselors also work with the students and families to plan for life after high school. These needs differ from student to student, so the counselors must spend time each year continuing to expand their knowledge when it comes to college entrance requirements, and I know a lot about that, fields of study, and recommended industry certifications. Second, but certainly not a lesser challenge, is the growing need for social emotional supports. The Center for Disease Control estimates that 1 in 5 kids living in the U.S. show signs or symptoms of mental health disorder in a given year, and yet most students who need mental health services will not get them. The number of suicide ideation reports that have been completed by our counselors at our high schools this year has more than doubled in the previous year. The issues that these students face can be tied to major challenges found in our schools, such as chronic absences, low achievement, disruptive behavior, safety violations, and even dropping out. We are currently supplementing student needs by providing a comprehensive framework of wraparound services. We have True to Life Ministries, student success coaches at both high schools. Brazosport High School has a Communities in Schools case manager. Brazosport ISD has Communities in Schools crisis support specialist that serves the entire district. We also have behavior specialists. And for special education students, we have 2 additional positions of a mental health social worker and a licensed specialist in school psychology. Our current workload and structure may meet the minimum needs for students both academically and socially and emotionally, but as the needs continue to increase, we are at risk of not keeping up with the standard that we expect in Brazosport ISD. Currently, Brazosport High School and Brazoswood High School have alpha split counselors in addition to a CTE specialist and dual credit counselor. The Alpha Split counselor serves as the academic and mental health professional on the campus. School counselors are the first line of support for the students they work with on the campus, and Administrative Services has met with both high school principals several times, and in order to meet the ever-changing academic and social emotional needs of our students, we are requesting the following additional positions. 4 licensed professional counselors to be added, 3 at Brazoswood High School and 1 at Brazosport High School to work with students who are experiencing moderate to severe mental health issues. This will not only give our students appropriately trained counselors to speak to, but it will also allow our Alpha Split counselors additional time to prioritize the needs of the students they work with on their campus. Also, we're asking for a college readiness specialist and master schedule technician to be added to Brazoswood High School. This position would be used to offer students and parents support when applying to college entrance exams, and searching for scholarships and financial aid. In addition to this person would provide the campus with ongoing support for scheduling and would continue to review transcripts for college readiness. And finally, a clerical position to be added at Brazosport High School to offer additional support to the counseling staff, which will allow the counselors to spend more time directly working with the students. School safety is the second mentioned priority, as evident throughout the state, as Administrative Services has attended several conferences since the Santa Fe shooting last May. BISD has been aggressive in more than 25 measures implemented during the 2018-19 school year, and to maintain and improve on school safety, it is vital to designate an individual to monitor school safety procedures for 19 campuses. Currently, safety audits are conducted every 3 years, which simply is not frequent enough to adjust to real-time potential threats to a campus. Emergency management, safety audits, standard response protocols, emergency kits, go bags and shelter kits, campus response teams, the list goes on and on. These things must be consistently revisited at all campuses to ensure that our students are safe. And with that in mind, we are requesting the addition of a safety and security coordinator. Governor Abbott declared school safety, disaster response, and mental health a top priority. These recommendations and additions continue to show that BISD is committed to ensuring that our students' needs are met and that we take school safety seriously. At this time, I'd be happy to answer questions or transfer. You guys have any questions on those before I move on? Mr. McKell.
The only thing I'll say is I had the responsibility of grading, reviewing some scholarship applications. I think it's very important that we look through this. The college readiness is important because I really felt sorry for the student who had no guidance. It was one that I wouldn't even review because of the poor quality. And this is something that we can help kids that need help with college education. And so this is imperative that we approve this.
Well, along those lines, if we will have that one person, the alpha split counselors, what would be their involvement with college readiness, et cetera?
Alpha split counselors will maintain most of the academic focus. They would be heavily involved with the college readiness. Oh, you're talking about in support of the individual?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the individual would be focused on the overall, but for one person to maintain all that, it would be in cooperation with the alpha split counselors.
What is the alpha split counselor's role?
Currently?
Yeah.
Everything, basically. All mental health, all transcripts. I have Allison Husso here who can speak a little more to that, but they're in charge of everything that a student goes through as far as academic guidance, course planning. They go to the intermediate schools, do course scheduling. They do mental health during the day as they're working with students on
the
certifications.
Course scheduling, I assume that's just super heavy at 2 or 3 week period, and then the rest is more counseling in nature, or
It kind of fluctuates
Hey,
because
actually, come on, that's us.
Sure.
Thank you.
You would tend to think that at the beginning of the year, that's when most of the scheduling takes place, but really it's an ongoing plan. We're doing schedule changes at the beginning of the year, first 10 days, making sure students are in the correct schedules, making sure classes are balanced. But then as soon as that gets over, we're starting to formalize the plan for how we'll do course selection starting in January. Then in January, they start the individual meetings where they're planning for what students will be taking the following school year. So pretty much their full year is taken with academic planning as far as course selection, adjusting four-year plans, making sure students are following the correct endorsement pathways.
And also with mobility, in terms of the percentage of mobility in our district, if you do the math on that, if you even at 10%, it's 250 students that are coming and going. We have a lot of those as well.
mid-year changes. Yeah.
So what kind of background would this college readiness specialist and master scheduling technician be able to work good with Excel?
Yes. Yeah, that certainly would be someone with a bachelor's degree that has familiarity with high school scheduling. Could be a counselor person.
And then we also use Zello, which was formerly Career Cruising. It's our college and career readiness online career interest inventories. They would need to be knowledgeable on that as well.
How do we currently ensure that it's getting done, other than the fact that the kids showing up for class on, at the first of the year and with all the schedule changes? I guess really what I'm shooting more for is how are we going to track that we're making these changes and that they're actually working? So we're going to hire. I'm really all for especially the actual counselors.
Mental health, yeah.
Mental health counselors. Yeah. But how are we going to track that they are being successful as opposed to we're just paying money for somebody to have an office? So I don't think that's ugly at all. Just how are we going to know that we're getting value added for the money?
Yeah, I think that
on both sides. I mean,
sure.
Do we currently?
We've got that goal around the college career readiness.
Military readiness and
now that'll be a good measure point for us.
Yeah, I think, and Rita's here, and I think Richard may not still be here, but one of the biggest challenges, and Allison and I have discussed a lot, is when you're working through any of the academic piece and you have a mental health challenge, enter the office, and that everything else shuts down. And you can't leave a mental health issue student to address academic concerns, so it can completely shut down what's going on that day as far as helping students academically. And, you know, then it's revisited, hopefully.
Well, and I've been asking for this, although I know there's not a true answer for this question, but the tracking of the college and career kids, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, do we know that they're getting an associate's degree? Do we know that they're getting a bachelor's degree? Do we know that they're still in the military? Or whatever it is, and to my knowledge, I don't think there is a tracking system out there, because we're basically subject to them responding. So I know that's difficult, but I mean, if we're going to put all this effort into it, how do we know that it is worthwhile?
We're taking them there.
And we're able to get some data specifically from Brazos College. They're able to provide us with some of that data. There's also a system that for students who go to colleges within the state of Texas, we can show where they're going. But students that go to military, go directly into the workforce, or go to out-of-state colleges, they're not part of that system.
They don't.
And then the other side, the actual professional counselors, the mental side. I shared with Danny, but I mean, I just want to know that these new folks are in the mix. They're not in their office waiting for somebody to come to them. They're out going to the population.
Based on our current needs, they will not be waiting. They will have students, like I say, with we're seeing, and statewide is seeing students in need of mental health supports, and so this is a common theme that we're hearing throughout districts, is that the mental health supports, if you can do it, it's being done. And it's Governor Abbott spoke to it, and it's everywhere in our area that we read about is mental health supports. As much as you can provide, the need is there, because there are a lot of students that are going through challenges, and it's very different than when you and I were in school. If you had challenges, you dealt with them a lot more, and so, but that's not, our students aren't dealing with those challenges as well, in my opinion, as we did, or maybe, I don't know, but there are a lot of kids they need somebody to talk to, they need somebody to work with them, they need some guidance, they need some support.
I'm just reaching back to my experience, which I only saw my counselors 1 or 2 days the entire year. I never saw them in classes, I never saw them in the lunchroom, I never saw them unless I went to their office. The whole year I never saw them. So I just want to make sure that all these kids who need them, that they're accessible. Mr. Spears?
If I remember correctly, a few months back we were saying we were having issues finding LPCs. Isn't that why we were contracting services out?
LSSP is probably for our testing for special ed.
I'll say this, and Rita would have to address this, but 9 years ago, when I retired, the counselors had a table, and we had a cafeteria every day at lunch, all 3 lunch periods or 4 lunch periods. There was a minimum of 1 counselor in the cafeteria, but once again, it goes back to what we know as the previous role of the counselor compared to what we're talking about now. And that makes a big difference. You know, you may have to have some of those in there, but you also have to have your LPCs in there as well, because that's when kids get a little bit more freedom, I guess.
Right, and this does give us a great opportunity as we add these other supports to redefine our expectations of our current counselors to be visible, be accessible, not sit in a room and tell the students to come to them, but they need to be out and about having lots of informal conversations with students, building relationships with students in the hallways, in the cafeterias, at the ball games, at the choir concerts, those type of things too. And again, this is a great opportunity for us to set those expectations, monitor those expectations, and hold them to those expectations. Absolutely.
And I think that to echo, I mean, to agree with what Danny said, you know, there's several principals alluded to the fact that there had to be restructuring on their campus, faculty-wise, staff-wise, to be successful. And that's what has to happen here. They've got to be there.
We agree.
What about the dual credit counselor? I mean, there's one at each school. Is that something that, I'm not familiar with that role. I mean, is it something that an alpha counselor would do, or is it that specialized?
It's that specialized. So they are part-time employees through BISD and part-time through the college. So they spend half their days with our students and then half their days at the college. So they're helping with the enrollment process, the Texas State Initiative testing, making sure that the kids are college ready to sign up for the courses, and then helping them with that process of signing up. And then they can be the liaison if students are having difficulty getting them the appropriate help that they need, so that transition when they go to college is smoother.
Any other questions before we move on?
Thank you.
Good evening. The Texas Education Agency has acknowledged the need to make improvements for identifying students who are eligible for special education services. This initiative will require additional personnel who will serve to assess and manage special education caseloads. We are requesting 2 educational diagnosticians and 3 licensed specialists in school psychology to address these additional needs for next school year. As special education referrals rise and more students become eligible for services, this request will ensure their needs are being met. In addition, by hiring these positions rather than contracting out, these services can file for Medicaid reimbursement, which is a considerable cost savings for the district. This year, approximately $800,000 will be filed for reimbursement. Students who are visually impaired are required to be identified at birth and serviced by local school districts. We will reposition a paraprofessional into another opening and utilize existing funding to offset some of the expenses of another teacher. Our BEST program, which services our students with emotional and behavior needs, will need a teacher at Freeport Intermediate, as several students will be moving up from Lanier next school year. Currently, we do not have a BEST program at FYS, thus the request for an additional staff member. Special education referrals have risen this year 65% over last year. Since the start of the 2018-19 school year, 219 more students are receiving special education services. The proposal is for an additional 5 special education teachers and 8 paraprofessionals, which will support campus needs. As referrals increase going into next school year, we will assess and determine if more special education staff will be needed. And finally, in order to be competitive with surrounding school districts, we would like to propose a stipend to attract and retain highly qualified candidates. The request is for $5,000 for both speech pathologists and school psychologists, and $3,000 for educational diagnosticians. We feel these additional stipends will greatly assist us in keeping qualified staff in the district to serve our students with disabilities. Thank you for reviewing these requests, and I will introduce Clara Sell Davis unless you have some questions for me.
Question?
And I'm just asking this, is there throughout the state, are there stipends paid to these positions in other districts?
Yes, sir. Considerable.
Are they similar to equivalent to these?
The stipend that's being proposed will make us very competitive with the surrounding districts. And it's much needed. We are having a very difficult time, as well as most districts, retaining people.
Mr. Schwartner, please. House Bill 3 discuss anything about more funding for special education?
No, they only increased wages for CTE.
That pass you a couple of them.
I don't think it's
Let
gonna
me
pass.
take some on it real quick.
I don't think it's gonna pass. I think we got problems. That's another story.
Thank you.
Mr. Martell.
In BISD, we believe that every child deserves the highest quality education. And our goal is to provide rigorous and relevant learning experiences to ensure that every student is future ready, and to provide learning environments that are conducive to learning at high levels. To accomplish our goals and to continue improving student achievement, we are proposing to add 4 more STREAM classes to Polk Elementary, Ogg Elementary, Griffith Elementary, and Velasco Elementary. In these STREAM labs, students will experience age-appropriate STEM explorations that integrate all core curriculum areas: science, language arts, math, and social studies. In STREAM labs, learning is centered around other essential life skills such as teamwork, communication, critical thinking, and problem-solving techniques. Reading is an integral component coupled with art integration into each STREAM project. Students will develop skills that are transferable to other courses and to potential future careers. Not only does STREAM support our district initiatives of early literacy and increasing STAR scores, the mission and units are directly aligned in the BISD Educational Planning Guide. STREAM teachers work collaboratively with their grade level teams to support and enhance the teams. This provides additional classes or specials that our kids have an opportunity to attend. As principals design their master schedules, this will be another way to ensure that grade levels share a common planning time as students go to music, PE, and now STREAM. As you can see, we have other anticipated results that align to our district initiatives. As we continue to monitor and measure success, it's our desire to expand this educational learning experience to all elementary schools and middle schools, always being mindful of the district's new construction and improvements. This year we had our pilot sites at Stephen F. Austin STEM Academy, Boydell, and Freeport Elementary. For next year we're requesting to add STREAM labs at Polk, Griffith, Velasco, and our new Ogg Elementary. These schools have their designated spaces ready to go. Brandon and Robert will have ample space for STREAM once their new buildings are complete. For now, we're requesting to add 4 teachers to teach the STREAM learning labs at Polk, Ogg, Griffith, and Velasco. Our full-scale programs are developed with a single goal in mind, to ensure students are building the resilience and adaptability required to solve challenges of the future. Our industry partners are invested in promoting programs that support the growth and development of our students. It aligns with 2 of their foundation strategic plan objectives, which are education and workforce development. We continue setting the standard for excellence as evidence that our STREAM labs have been showcased at the Texas Association for School Administrators Conference, and just recently we were selected to present at the Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development Ignite Conference in June. And we also have had a stream of visitors to visit our district lab.
We've been waiting all night for that.
So we need 4 more STREAM teachers. Are there any questions about STREAM?
Or there is room at Polk and Griffith and Velasco?
Yes, sir.
Are the new schools being built with STREAM lab specific, or?
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Atkins, we're going to have to rearrange some things, like the interventionists may not have their own classroom, they have to share, or the special ed is now inclusion instead of having their own room, so there's going to be a little...
So they don't have room, but they'll make room.
They're going to do what's best for our kids, not what's best for the adults, but what's best for our kids. And they're looking forward to having that experience.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. And now Mr. Brian Cole, CTE time.
Good evening. In the career and technical education area, we currently see the need for 2 half-time additions. The addition of a half-time Goddard rocket teacher at Brazos Wood High School would provide for the successful mentoring and transition of the Goddard rocket program at Brazos Wood High School to a new rocketry teacher. At Lake Jackson Intermediate School, they currently have a half-time CTE teacher, but based on course demand for those CTE classes, that continues to rise at LJI. The addition of a second half-time CTE position would allow for a full-time teacher at LJI in the CTE area to meet those demands. We are currently, course registration numbers from the high schools have recently been finalized, and we will continue to review those for any other needs, both CTE and academic at the high schools as well. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Mr. Jaco, our Chief of Staff, will now share athletic news.
Good evening. We are requesting the addition of 2 athletic trainers, one at Brazosport High School and one at Brazos Wood High School. The current athletic trainers, campus coordinators, and athletic director reviewed needs for athletic trainers at the high schools and intermediate levels. With these proposed additions and the use of a contract athletic trainer, the athletic training staff will be able to provide better support and medical oversight to our student athletes. These additions will also provide coverage for collision sports like football at the intermediate level, and the athletic trainers will be able to regularly visit the intermediate campuses to provide injury evaluation and treatment as needed. Through these additions, we will continue to build trust with our students and parents that we have appropriate medical support and care for the student athletes involved in all athletics. As with all staffing needs in this area, we will continue to evaluate and make recommendations as necessary. Any questions?
I visited with Mr. Massey on Friday. I feel very strongly that we need to put athletic trainers in our intermediate schools. I think, in my mind, on a full-time basis, and we're way behind in that to several school districts around. I've asked he and Mr. Jaco and Coach Waddell to develop a program, and I visited with Coach Waddell just a little bit before the meeting. He's set kind of the foundation for that. And I would like for you all to look at that. We don't have, it's not going to put an athletic trainer on each junior high campus, but it's going to allow us to have better coverage. And I can speak from, if you're a basketball coach and you're the only coach in your group and a kid gets hurt and there's nobody there, it's kind of not a good thing. So. We're very fortunate in our area, Freeport, Lake Jackson, include all have great EMS services. They respond when they can, but Chief Nichols knows this for sure. If there's active night, there's not an ambulance available here because they use this, we have this shared community use, and so it's an issue. So I would like for that to be looked at.
Yes, sir.
And brought back to us.
Yes, sir. We'll continue to evaluate. Thank you.
So these will be at the high schools, but they'll help cover the intermediate level?
Yes, sir. They will. When I served as an athletic trainer here, we hired a 3rd athletic trainer, and we were able to visit both Lake Jackson and Clute Intermediate on a regular basis, daily basis, to that either provide treatment and or evaluation of any injuries that were reported. And we also had an athletic trainer at the football games during that time. The athletic trainers looked at the schedules, looked at events, injury data, and felt that this was a good plan to ensure that we had coverage at this point for the intermediate campuses for collision sports and be able to provide personnel to provide treatments and evaluations for intermediate students and have adequate coverage or appropriate coverage at the high school as well.
Is this primarily for home games or?
So typically, yes, it's primarily for home games. So the athletic trainers typically only travel for away football games and for playoff events. So when our schools teams go into playoffs, an athletic trainer will travel with the team at that point, but not until playoffs. And the other time they travel is for varsity football games. Otherwise, we count on athletic trainers at the visiting campus, okay, home campus to take care of, just like we do here.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I want to take a moment here to show additional teachers that are on here due to class sizes and enrollment. So at Brazoswood High School, with the increase in freshman students, the team leadership teacher addition, Brasco Elementary, as Ms. Fulton shared with us earlier, her growing numbers is in need of a first grade classroom due to her kindergarten enrollment numbers now. So, here it is. It's the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the additional personnel positions with a net cost of $1,980,000 as presented. So, okay, so you're looking at a number on your summary sheet that also includes paraprofessionals that I've included in the summary, as well as positions that you've previously approved at previous board meetings. So the 7 pre-K teachers and the 2 GT teachers are also included in that.
This is net.
This is net.
So we anticipate an increase in number of freshmen, or are we just going to lower the class size?
Both, yeah. Both, yeah.
The class sizes are large. Go ahead, Mr. Maxwell.
Yeah, we anticipate a larger freshman class at Brazowood, and the class sizes are large right now. We have some as high as over 30, 32, 34 students in some of those classes.
So we need an additional teacher, or we just they can schedule?
Yeah, additional teacher.
Is that existing, or is that?
No, it'll be an added additional teacher.
That's another one that will be, or is it, okay, that's okay.
All right, we do have a recommendation by the administration. Do I hear a motion?
I so move that the Board of Trustees approve additional personnel at net cost of $1,980,000 as presented.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right, it's been moved by Patty and seconded by Ms. Cuellar.
I assume budget has been looked at
Yes, sir.
in addition to potential salary issues?
So yes, as part of the funding formulas under current law, we retain value growth for 1 year. And so we've been anticipating some ups and downs in our total available revenue. And so we have planned for the times where we're going to have less revenue available, and this is going to be one of those years. But we have significantly increased fund balance for the last 3 years in a total of about $25 million across all 3 years. And so we are at a good financial position to be able to absorb these additional personnel costs, as well as maintain the prior year adds in our competitive compensation structure. Again, that's based on current law and doesn't take into account any additional revenue that we could receive out of this 86th legislative session.
All right, we do have a motion.
I just expressed my concern that, I know there's a bunch of people at one time. I hate to, we need to look very closely. I've got the 5-year projection, and that's what we're talking about. So it's kind of like, we need to watch this very closely. It's kind of
Watch our money.
yeah. Because I hate that to go back.
Sustainability.
Because all these positions are obviously used.
So with the 11% value growth, we would see, last year we saw 22% value growth, this year we'll see 11, so the state will equalize a portion of that. So we'll see net revenue reductions of about $5.3 million, again, based on current law. But we have over $50 million in fund balance, 40 of which is unassigned, and so we're at a place that we could absorb a deficit budget this year, because we've seen surplus budgets in the last 3 years. So,
And we got more this month.
right. Yeah, this year I anticipate a $10 to $12 million surplus.
Yep.
So,
The tax collection is really good.
right.
If we have money left, we need to put it where we need it in a classroom.
All right. Is there any further discussion before we vote?
I will reluctantly vote for this, but I will be deeply disappointed if my request is not researched.
It will be.
Because I think it's something that's very important.
Although we do have, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I know this works, but.
How many, we have 9 already approved. How many is this? I didn't count. Get an idea off the top of your head?
46. 46 total, including the ones that have been previously approved.
Including the 9.
So included in budget assumptions that I'll present later, there's a total of 46 new positions.
Which
that
will
we've
also
added
include
so
the
far.
paraprofessional.
Yes.
Right.
All right, we're back on track. So we do have a motion set before us. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by nay. That's carried. Our next action item is action item B, easements with CenterPoint Energy. Mr.
Alex.
Burton. Looks like one. Mr. Alex, ready to go with it. Mr. Alex, go ahead.
Good evening. The purpose of this easement is to provide CenterPoint Energy the required access to provide three-phase power to the new Roberts and Brandon elementary campuses. These easements will be both overhead and underground. This is a standard blanket easement, and the locations are shown on the drawings in your board packet. The administration recommends that the Board of Trustees approve the attached easements to provide electrical services to the new Roberts and Brandon elementary schools.
You're in favor of electricity at this item?
I'm
And
sure
utilities?
Pardon me?
Electricity and utilities?
Exactly.
I move that we approve the attached easement to provide electrical services to the new Roberts and Brandon Elementary School.
It's been moved by Ms. Patty Sage. Is there a second?
I'll second that, I guess.
Second by Scott.
We're gonna do it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And all opposed by nay. You get electricity. All right.
Oh, that's the ads, we have to
Action item C, the proclamation 2019 instructional materials allotment, adoption of selections, and certification of instructional materials. Mr. Martell.
Good evening once again. In accordance with EFA local, in which Brazosport ISD will provide a rigorous and relevant learning experience to ensure that every student will be future ready, I am pleased to present to the Board of Trustees the annual selection of new materials, supplemental materials, and the continuation of renewals we anticipate which will be needed to support our curriculum and overall classroom instruction going into the 2019-20 school years. The Texas Education Agency releases funds to districts every 2 years to cover the adoption of new materials as well as textbook renewals, digital media, and annual subscription fees. Adoption cycles are called proclamations. For 2019, BISD will receive approximately $2.4 million. The funding will provide new materials for English Language Arts and Reading, grades K through 8, Spanish Language Arts and Reading, grades 1 through 6, Handwriting, grades K through 5, and English Learners Language Arts, grades 7 through 8. These new materials will be used and in adoption for 8 years. The adoption process in BISD started in the fall of this year with directors, coordinators, and teachers reviewing new materials, critiques, alignment, and selecting resources on district-developed rubrics. A public hearing was held in January to allow teachers and the public to have an opportunity to review materials and talk to publishers. Teachers test run materials in the classroom, and final evaluations of materials are held in March, which are approved by the IMA committee. Materials will be purchased in May after final approval from the Board of Trustees. New materials this year in Language Arts and Reading and Spanish Language Arts and Reading's K-5 include Into Reading Texas and my annual Spanish lesson, and Arriba la Lectura Texas, for a total of $1,183,325. New adoption materials for English Language Arts and Reading and English Learners Language Arts and Reading grades 6 through 8 include McGraw-Hill Texas Study Sync for $510,659. New materials for humanities at the high school level include multiple titles and classroom materials from Mackin Educational Resources for a total of $4,319.52. And for math, 3rd and 4th grades, Mentoring Minds Motivation Math will be purchased for $40,293. In addition, for 3rd and 4th grade interventions, Dreambox Learning was selected for $25,400. And to support science, STEM Scope materials from Rice University will be purchased for $24,696. The next two slides are materials that have been previously approved in years past by the Board of Trustees, which will total $701,956.64 for this school year. The following items are being presented for renewal. Under English Language Arts from grades pre-K through 12, we have 6 titles that support this content, and they are No Red Ink, Teaching Strategies, for Sure Litcom, Developing Talker Kits for PK, Hope Mifflin Consumables, and Heinemann Comprehension Toolkit. Under Math, we have Agile Minds and Alex. Under Science, we have Pittsco Stream for grades K through 4, and Pearson AP Environmental for grades 11 through 12. And for Social Studies, we have Atlas of Our Country's History and Ramsey's Foundations in Personal Finance. Other renewals include the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills Resource System, or better known as TEKS-RS, iStation Reading and Math, Renaissance Learning Accelerated Reader Program, Career Cruising, and Leadworthy, previously Teen Leadership Materials from the Flipping Group. In closing, I would like to thank everyone who worked on this year's proclamation and selecting the resources needed to enhance the education of our students. It is a recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees move to approve the purchase of the new instructional materials and renewals for $2,490,649.26 as presented tonight. I will now take any questions that you may have. Always a splendid presentation.
I'll make a motion we accept the recommendation.
It's been moved by Mr. Atkins and seconded by Joe. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by nay.
Thank you.
Carries. Thank you, sir. That is all for our action items. The next portion of our agenda are reports. Report A, preliminary budget assumptions and anticipated expenditures. Dr. Kelly, there's a few more than there were before.
I've included this in that, but good evening. The following is in accordance with Board Policy CE and Texas Education Code Section 44.002 through 006. As part of the budget development process, key educational staff should be involved in and participate with setting budgetary priorities. As such, we conducted the Guiding Principles Survey, and tonight it's my pleasure to present the results of that survey. The survey was sent to board members, campus principals, and district administrators who are also budget managers. We had a total of 43 who responded, 3 board members, 17 campus principals, and 23 district administrators. This is about average. Last year we also had 43 respondents, and the prior 2 years to that we had 45 respond. The survey covered 2 main areas: competitive climate, which included 5 items that were prioritized and ranked, 1 being the highest priority and 5 being the lowest. Then respondents evaluated for effectiveness 10 resources that are available to support student achievement. Our first area is competitive climate, which includes competitive pay increases, performance incentives, competitive stipends, which all address the compensation increases, but we also included the need to provide additional staff. This year we added a 5th criteria to provide competitive benefits as we continue to face significant increases in our TRS healthcare premiums. With limited state and local funds under the current law, it is challenging to continue to provide competitive pay increases that enable us to recruit and retain quality personnel while also providing the additional campus supports that address the increased needs of our student population. So while taking the survey, 1 again was the highest priority and 5 was the lowest. So on these charts, the lower the number, the higher the priority. The board prioritized performance incentives as the highest priority, while the average of all other respondents ranked competitive pay increases as the top priority. As part of the 2020 budget development, BISD will consider all 5 of these. 46 campus-based support positions have been included already for the 2020 budget, and in May we will present the 2020 compensation plan for board approval in June. The second component of the survey was to evaluate for effectiveness the resources available that support student achievement. There were a total of 10 resources evaluated, and the chart includes the number of each respondent by the level of effectiveness. As we have district administration that oversee department budgets, not all support resources apply, so we included the NA to capture support that don't apply to their particular department responsibilities. Resource number 1 is academic intervention support. This support includes intervention personnel at campuses that provide additional support to students classified at risk. It also includes supplemental programs that provide differentiated and accelerated instruction. It also includes services provided to those students with dyslexic or who are dyslexic. Resource number 2 is campus behavior support, which includes behavior interventionists that provide teacher support on classroom management and behavior support strategies. Behavior interventionists help to collect and analyze data on selected students and complete functional behavior assessments needed to effectively develop behavior intervention plans. They work collaboratively with campus administrators, counselors, and interventionists to set goals and action items and to monitor student progress. Resource number 3 is technology integration support. This support was implemented as our district implemented the one-to-one initiative. Technology integration support is provided by campus digital coaches that train teachers on how to integrate the use of technology into their classroom. This also includes the tech support side needed to manage deployment and maintenance of all devices. Resource number 4 is bilingual and ESL support. Student performance data indicates that ELLs are significantly below their peers academically. ELLs must have a language proficiency assessment committee to make assessment decisions on an individual student basis. The state requires these students be monitored for progress with a transition plan. BISD provides paraprofessional support to campuses to support ELLs as well as bilingual and ESL coordinators to help train teachers on effective instructional strategies. Resource number 5 is special education support. Campus supports are provided to evaluate, place, and provide educational and or other services to students who have individual educational plans approved by an admissions review and dismissal committee. Individual education plans are based on students' disabilities, functional learning needs, and level of access to the general curriculum. Resource number 6 is counselors, social workers, and case managers, all of whom support the social and emotional needs of our students. These supports include assessing and testing students' abilities, aptitudes, and interests, counseling students with respect to career and educational opportunities, and helping them establish realistic goals. This function includes cost of psychological services, identification of individual characteristics, testing, educational counseling, occupational counseling, student evaluation, academic performance, crisis situation, and post-graduation exploration plans. Resource number 7 is campus safety and security. These supports ensure that BISD's environments are safe and conducive to learning. BISD utilizes police departments with licensed peace officers who have specialized training as well as campus safety specialists. This also includes the security provided at all district events to help ensure the safety of our students, staff, parents, and community members. Preventative and awareness program efforts on drug and safety, as well as crisis and disaster recovery, are also supports provided through our BISD Police Department. Resource number 8 is CTE programming. CTE encompasses a wide range of educational opportunities intended to simultaneously provide students with skills demanded in the labor market while preparing them for post-secondary degrees in technical fields. To align and create comprehensive career pathways, additional CTE courses have been added to the course selection guide over the past few years. Recognizing that not all students will pursue a post-secondary degree, it is critical that we provide educational opportunities that enable students to earn industry certifications. This ensures they are career ready and able to enter the workforce. Resource number 9 is extracurricular programming. Funds are allocated for school-sponsored activities outside of the school day. These activities are generally designed to provide students with experience such as motivation and the enjoyment and improvement of skills in either a competitive or non-competitive setting. Among others, these activities include athletics, fine arts, and other student groups such as robotics, Science Olympiad, Student Council, National Honor Society, Business Professionals of America, and FFA. These activities often keep students engaged in learning and provide students with additional life skills such as teamwork, relationship building, time management, and self-esteem. And the last resource, number 10, is Advanced Academics and GT Programming. GT refers to students who perform at or show potential for performing at remarkably high levels when compared to others of the same age, experience, or environment, and who exhibit high performance capability in an intellectual, creative, or artistic area. Services emphasize skills in self-directed learning, thinking, research, and communication. GT students develop innovation projects and sophisticated performances that reflect individuality and creativity and are targeted to an audience outside of the classroom. BISD provides district-wide elementary search teachers and many AP courses at the secondary level. So overall, the responses from the survey are favorable, which demonstrates that our dollars are being targeted and utilized to provide quality and effective support. So shifting gears, the campus allocations are calculated by multiplying the per student amount times the campus's projected enrollment. Campus allocations are used for grade level instructional supplies, so general teaching supplies, library books and supplies, technology consumable supplies, and any discretionary employee and teacher travel and professional development, office and principal and other campus leadership supplies. Currently, campus allocations total $1,132,000, and we increased the per student amount by 3% last year. Prior to that, the last increase was in the 2015-16 budget year. So using the same per student amount, projected campus allocations will be slightly less due to the decrease in enrollment that we've seen this year. For your review, I have provided a handout at your table with the written responses to the 3 questions that were included in the survey. So the budget development process continues to be ongoing. Campus needs assessment, the meetings are happening, department budget planning is underway, CASB has completed the compensation review, and the compensation plan will be presented in May, and the recommendation of that plan will be presented in June. Campus allocations based on those projected enrollment amounts have been distributed. Meetings with the elementary principals have been conducted to review enrollment and grade level staffing needs. Secondary has just completed their course selection data, so we'll continue to review any needs at the secondary level based on course selection. And lastly, I've also provided a handout at your table of the budget assumptions to date. Additional staffing to target identified campus needs are highlighted in red and total just over $2.9 million. On the second page, revenue adjustments reflect the 11% increase to property values. Again, based on current law, M&O taxes collected from prior value growth is only kept in BISD for 1 year, as the state equalizes the formulas in the second year. Therefore, the district has to be very careful when budgeting, as an increase in 1 year could easily be reversed in the subsequent year if the value growth slows or stops. And we're going to see some of that this year, based on prior year growing at 22%, this year I'm projecting 11%. So that's the roughly $5.3 million decrease in available revenue that you see. And so if you factor in the additions, the fee reductions, the revenue decrease, again based on current law, back out the $3.4 million that we have in budgeted contingencies. Right now we're looking at a 2020 adopted surplus actually of $832,000. So this is a report, no action is required. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
I don't know if it's a question or not, but I'm not convinced the legislature's gonna help us a whole lot.
We'll get more, but I don't think we're gonna get near what
putting into perspective, the pre-K, the full-day pre-K alone, if the state would fully fund that for BISD next year and at the STEM Academy, Freeport, and then Polk, Griffith, and Aug, that would yield, just at full-day levels based on the current basic allotment, that would yield us an additional $835,000. So sometimes the little things make a big difference financially for us. And so while I'm not confident that House Bill 3 as it is written today will stand, I am confident that we will see some level of increases to a total available state aid.
You're an optimistic person.
So, I can't remember what the salary compensation plan, but wasn't the 2% like $2 million or something?
Roughly $3 million if we were to do 3%. 2.9 something, I think is what it was.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Beckham?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you. The next report is the 2014 bond project update. Your name?
Good evening. In accordance with Board Policy CB Local, it's my pleasure to present the 2014 bond update. As of April 15th, total POs issued of $140,898,778, or approximately 80.51% completed or in progress. This slide shows the 2014 completed projects, and this slide shows the current projects all under construction, the Aug, Roberts, and Brannon Elementary replacements, and the Package D Summer 2019 projects. TW Aug continues to move along very well, and I'm excited for everyone to see it. This slide, of course, is the front view of the school, showing the canopies that are in place. They've already started a lot of the dirt work around the site. This is the back view of the school, looking at the back of the media center. There's a lot of outdoor concrete hard surface areas for the students for outdoor learning areas and play surfaces. This is another view from the back of the media center. There's outdoor covered areas there, and in the distance you can see the awnings behind the cafeteria and the gymnasiums, and there's a lot of concrete in both of those areas, as well as play areas too, beyond the concrete.
And trees.
Concrete is the topic of the day. This is also behind the cafeteria and gymnasium area. This is the bus loop in the back. They are completed with that, all except one approach over on the west side. This is the interior view looking at the Kiva. They've almost got, all they have left there is for the glass to be installed in the storefronts. This is just another view from the opposite side. They've already started putting the ceiling grid and the lighting in the media center, and in the distance you can see the tile on the walls, and they've also got all the primer coats on the paint. This is also another view of the ceiling grid in the media center. This is a view looking down into the media center. This is the elevators have finally arrived, and they are now installing. On the right is the first elevator that is going in. And they've started a lot of the finishes throughout the building. These are the marker boards and tack boards that are in the corridors of the classroom areas. The millwork is being installed throughout the building. This is a typical classroom. They've also got the painting done in the classrooms, and they've also installed the carpet, or in the installation process of installing the carpet. They've got all of one wing completed. It's of course covered with plastic. That's why it doesn't look very nice, but we've got to protect it. This is the LVT that is going in. We've moved from using the VCT that we're used to seeing throughout the district, which has to be waxed continually and takes a lot of personnel and equipment and time to complete that throughout the district. So we've moved to the LVT type tile, which does not have to be waxed, and there's a lot more options with it, and you turning out really nice. We're using that in Ogg, Roberts, and Brannon. These are one of the group restrooms. They've got the sinks installed as well as all of the toilets. Roberts Elementary is also moving along very well. The weather has been cooperating. This was taken, I think this was taken yesterday. The areas down at the bottom of the screen, that's the mechanical yard, the cafeteria, kitchen, and gymnasium area. That portion of the slab is the first section that will be poured, which we anticipate that taking place late next week, which is ahead of schedule. In the upper part of the slide, actually I think this next slide shows it better. On the left-hand side, you can see one of the very large stacking lanes. That concrete will be poured tomorrow. That's one of the stacking lanes. It's not the main one coming off of the parking lot, but it's one of the side ones, and it's very large, and it's a double stacking lane.
I thought that was interesting they did that so early in the process. I don't remember it being done so early at the other schools, those stacking lanes.
The more concrete that can get on the ground at the site, the better.
Make it easier
We were not able to accomplish that at at Boyle and Freeport, but because of the weather. But at Ogg, we were able to get a lot of the parking lots in place. The stacking lane, Ogg only has one main stacking lane, but that's in the front of the school where the current campus sits. We won't be able to do any parking lots on this project until the school is torn down. This is another view in the top part. You can see the cafeteria. Everywhere you see yellow is where all the grade beams are in place and the plumbing and such, getting ready for the slab to be poured. Brannon Elementary is moving along very well. You can start to see the shape of the school. It's a little bit dark right there, but it gives you an idea of where the campus is facing. And that one gives you a little bit better idea. The wing off to the left is the two-story wing, and then the front faces kind of a little bit towards the existing campus. I will say that they've taken out 2 feet of existing soil there, and they'll start bringing in dirt. We're hoping to start seeing it tomorrow or Wednesday. And then you'll start seeing a mountain out there. Package D summer projects, Lake Jackson, Clute, and Freeport Intermediate, Brazosport High School, Library, Media Center improvements, Velasco Elementary new marquee, and through maintenance, the Hopperfield air conditioning of the restrooms. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Colin, just out of curiosity, you said that Roberts, I believe that the parking lots can't be built until the old structure is demolished. Is
correct?
That gonna be a time concern next spring and fall?
It
spring
is.
and summer?
It is if it rains. We're in the same situation. From a standpoint of getting the parking lots and detention ponds built as we were at Boyle. So it's, as long as the weather cooperates with us, it will not be an issue. So we have to time it the best we can to get out of the school in a timely manner so we can turn it over to the demolition contractors.
That's gonna put us, that's gonna be 2 schools, basically, Roberts and Boyle both, Brandon both, that could be under that.
Exactly.
Situation.
Yeah. There's the subcontractors that are on those projects are geared up and ready, and they have ample equipment to get that taken care of. They have ample trucks, and so as far as the contractors, I don't have any real concerns for that. It's just all gonna we just have to be blessed with good weather, and I'm confident that we are, because we've been in a wet pattern for 4 years, and it looks like maybe we're sliding out of it a little bit. So
We'll see that real
I'm hopeful. Positive attitude about it. That's what you can do. The contractors are doing a very good job under all the different circumstances that they've been dealt.
Since we get so many questions about trees. What is a tree planting plan? Do we have one?
Oh, absolutely, especially in the city of Lake Jackson.
Should we know how many we're going to be putting down?
Yes.
Maybe touch that on the next one.
Yeah,
I
kids will
can't-
be more asking about.
This way we can this way we can communicate that out too.
It's a very complicated formula that's hard, you get credits, and so I'll try to get the narrative from the city of Lake Jackson, because I just can't say we're gonna plant 35 trees or something like that, but.
Just make up a number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just throw something on, just throw a dart.
Nobody's gonna come back and count.
No, yeah, they will.
Robert, they will. There's always one.
Brandon.
Oh, yeah, we wouldn't have got the permit.
So what I'm saying, that way we can at least maybe get a struck down and give everybody an opportunity to see what it looks like.
Sure.
Any complaints about ATV though?
All right, there are no other questions for Mr. Alex. Thank you.
I would like to say one more thing, because
All right.
I overheard your comment about HEB.
Yeah.
And it looks like we just clear cut that site where Brandon is, and we did not. There are still some very nice trees there. But the reason there's so many that were gone is because we are raising that site 7 feet. And so there may be some trees that are outside the actual building. You have to slope it, otherwise you will end up with what HEB got.
Yeah.
Dead trees falling up the first bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Our next regularly scheduled board meeting will be May the 20th. Next on the agenda is executive session. Executive session may be called for the purposes permitted by the Texans Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code Section 551.001 through 551.146, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, Section 551.074, personnel matters, appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, dismissal, and complaint. We shall return. 9:15 by my watch. 9:15.
That's not bedtime.
Unless there are any